Hi, it's Michael Senoff with Michael Senoff's HardToFindSeminars.com. The title of this interview is called How to Stop Screwing Yourself Out of Success. It's an interview with legendary life coach Debbie Ford. If you're like most people, you've probably been unconsciously punishing yourself for the regret and failures in your life, essentially screwing yourself out of happiness and success without even knowing it. But in this audio interview, you'll hear how to stop that cycle once and for all from Debbie Ford. She's the author of Why Good People Do Bad Things. According to Debbie, the first thing we have to do is recognize our faults and forgive ourselves for being human. Hidden and suppressing our true feelings is like holding a beach ball underwater. It will come to the surface and usually in a surprising way. So in this audio interview, you'll hear the steps you can take to get back in touch with your authentic self, trust your instincts, and reclaim your self-esteem. You'll also hear real-life examples of how people sabotage their own happiness every day. Simple questions you must ask yourself before you can know what you're truly projecting to the world and suppressing from yourself. You'll learn what you need to know about toxic emotions and how to get rid of them. You'll learn why it's so important to make spirituality a daily practice. You'll learn a surprising exercise that will help you forgive yourself and move on. You'll learn the scary way the media actually promotes a society of shame and how not to succumb to it. According to Debbie, everyone has a dark side, but it's not a bad thing. It's when we don't have compassion for our mistakes and impulses that will actually be our downfall. And in this audio interview, you'll hear how to stop letting guilt and fear lead you to failure and instead allow yourself to find the success you deserve. Now let's get going.
Hi, this is Chris Costello, and I've teamed up with Michael Senoff to bring you the world's best wellness-related interviews. So if you know anyone struggling with their weight, with cancer, diabetes, ADHD, autism, heart disease, or other health challenges, please send them to Michael Senoff's HardToFindSeminars.com. So you've written a book called Why Good People Do Bad Things. So, Debbie, why do good people do bad things?
Well, because we have issues, and all of us know it, and we have these suppressed emotions, and we do bad things, I think, really, ultimately, to heal ourselves. And so our suppressed shame, our fear, our guilt, our remorse, our regret, our grief, all the things that we haven't digested, all the things that we've hid, denied, tried to suppress beneath the surface of our conscious mind drive us to do things that we can't even imagine. That's why everybody struggles, like, why don't I have any control over what I eat? Why don't I have any control over doing what I say I want to do? And it's because there's a force called the shadow driving us, whether we're aware of it or not. It's driving us. It tells us how big we can get or how small we must stay. It tells us the risks that we can take, the kinds of relationship we can be in, how much money we can have, or it limits us, in ways that are unfathomable to most people until they start studying it, and they say, why didn't I learn this in school? We all have a dark side. There isn't a human being that I've ever met. I'm sure there's somebody probably, maybe the Dalai Lama or somebody who has transcended their dark side. But it is there, and it's not a bad thing. That's the problem. People make it wrong. I always say, what happened for your old not to jump on the bed? What do? They jump on the bed, right?
Of course.
And it's like telling your twin, your dark side, your human side, really, because, we are this beautiful combination of divine and holy and very human and flawed. And so you tell this human side, this ego part of us, don't act out. And what does it do? It acts out. I describe it in Why Good People Do Bad Things as the beach ball effect. We have these things about ourselves that we don't like, these parts of ourselves, whether they're an impulse or a dark thought or some fear. We try to hold it beneath the surface of our consciousness. Now, all of us have tried to hold a beach ball underwater. It takes a lot of attention, a lot of energy to hold those parts of us underwater, especially when we don't even know we're doing it. And then all of a sudden, when we least expect it, one of these aspects of ourselves pops up, acts out, and we're left thinking, how could I have done that? And I think the best example, the easiest example, is road rage. All think most of us have been, driving one day, and all of a sudden somebody cuts in front of us, and all of a sudden we go from peaceful to angry and insane. Why is that? It's because that anger was already in there. It was already suppressed, and something happened, and it was able to take form. We all have this duality. We all have these aspects of ourselves. So I think it's part of the human operating system. But I think what we become aware of, why good people do bad things, tries the guide, is to show you that as soon as you were told, don't be selfish, don't be angry, don't be a bad girl, don't be a bad boy, don't do this, don't be mean, don't take the toy, don't be greedy, don't have too many cookies, all these don'ts have us split off from who we really are as a human being, which is the totality of every quality. And because we decide what's acceptable and what's not acceptable at a very young age, we start to create these personas. That's why so many people really suffer from low self-esteem or lack of confidence, because they've cut themselves off from their authentic self. Self-sabotage is when we get in our own way, where all of a sudden we're dieting and we're feeling great, and, we've exercised for 5 days and eaten the right things, and then one afternoon we come home from work and there's a bag of cookies and we eat them all. That would be self-sabotage. If we spend money we don't have, that would be self-sabotage. Being with your kids and, really trying to be more loving and kind and help them grow and evolve and have self-esteem, and all of a sudden, you're angry about something and your anger gets laid off onto them. So those are smaller acts of self-sabotage. Of course, we see them in the media all the time. We can remember Mel Gibson, one of the films that is really acclaimed all over the world as one of the holy, at least Christian films, right? And all of a sudden he gets drunk and shouts anti-Semitic comments. Those are the kinds of things that are just self-sabotaging. We see it with politicians all the time.
And we're hearing a lot more lately in the news just about tragic things with the economic stress people are feeling, where they go off the deep end. Is the shadow involved with that? I mean, it must be.
Yeah, a lot of those people are, why good people do bad things is not psychological therapy, although it helps people. But a lot of those people have deep psychological patterns. I'm really just talking to those of us who probably aren't going to go and blow somebody up, but the way that we're going to blow up our own lives is in a much more subtle way. One of the great things we're seeing right now with all that's going on in the economy is that people haven't taken care of themselves. They haven't put away for the future. That would be an act of self-sabotage. Living in homes you can't really afford, that is an act of self-sabotage. So it's because we disconnect from that authentic voice. We have a guide inside. We have an inner resource that can tell us where to go, what to eat, what to do, so that we can have the greatest life for ourselves. And every time we ignore that voice, every time we don't trust our instincts, every time we go back into a bad relationship or a repetitive pattern, boom, something happens.
Hi, it's Michael Senoff with HardToFindSeminars.com. Thanks for watching this video. Many of my interviews last 30 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour, sometimes even up to 2.5 hours long. They're actual mini seminars, and you've just listened to a short sample of just one of over 117 hours of exciting, hard-hitting, mind-blowing interviews on how to make money in direct mail, advertising, copywriting. I assure you, there is not a resource anywhere on the internet or on the planet that comes close to the free information I provide at HardToFindSeminars.com. So go right now to HardToFindSeminars.com, and you'll have free access to 117 hours of audio interviews with typed word-for-word downloadable transcripts and downloadable MP3 files. Please browse some more of the videos or go right directly to HardToFindSeminars.com. Thanks for watching.